Welcome to Annapolis Mosaics. Our program spotlights people in Anne Arundel County who are involved in activities designed to promote good human relations. I am Michael Keller, Chair of the Annapolis Human Relations Commission and your host. The Commission is a city board that seeks to promote equal opportunity and to eliminate discrimination. My guests today are Greg Mead, who is Area Director of Special Olympics Maryland and Anne Arundel County, and Kyle Hines, who is the Volunteer Coordinator for that organization. Welcome to Annapolis Mosaics.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, what is Special Olympics Maryland and Anne Arundel County all about?
It's all about giving opportunities to individuals to succeed in sport throughout the year. We provide opportunities in 3 different seasons to allow them to succeed and get a chance to feel like every one of us for one day. Everyone's on their side, everyone's cheering for them, getting excited for their opportunities when they're out there. And it's such a great thing to see, and they get so excited, so into it. And I always say every time, I guarantee they were sleeping in their uniform the night before. I mean, this is what they want to do, and they're so excited and so passionate for on a daily to weekly basis.
How many are served in Anne Arundel County? What are the kinds of age groupings are involved? And what kind of disabilities do you confront?
Well, we provide sports in 17 different sports for people with intellectual disabilities. Okay. The age limit is from 6 years. I have one young lady that's 83 doing bocce. So there really is no age limit. We try to provide the sport in an ability level that suits them. So if they can't do one thing, we'll adapt the sport to fit them. We'll do a skill level sport as opposed to a team sport. So we try to make the program rounded so that anyone with an intellectual disability can enjoy that sport.
Mm-hmm. What kinds of numbers are we looking at in terms of numbers that are actually?
We have on our rolls about 425 active athletes, which is a very small percentage of the eligible individuals in this county. We would love to see that increase, even though that increase, a large increase would create good problems,
right.
But yeah, we would love to reach more, but about 450 active athletes, and I think we've got about 120 active volunteers.
Yep. Okay. And you mentioned that you engage in quite a number of different kinds of sports. That's yes. a big selection. Tell our viewers about what sports that you offer.
Well,
for folks.
As Kyle mentioned, we do it in 3 seasons. Right now, we're doing what we call our summer season. We have bocce, track and field, softball, and aquatics is going on right now. Then we'll jump into the midsummer season, which is golf and kayaking.
Okay.
Then we jump into our fall season, which is soccer, and then we'll start skiing. We do both downhill alpine skiing and cross country, snowshoeing, and then we'll do both bowling, 10-pin and duck pin. Sure I'm missing something, but tennis, we will do tennis in the fall. So, it's quite a number of sports that we provide. So,
yes, I can hear that you have quite a variety that you offer to potentially interested athletes. What kinds of guidelines or requirements do you have for participants in the Special Olympics?
For our athletes who come out, we have to get medical documents showing that what their disability is, along with the age requirement. We can go to any age. Like you said, we have one of our athletes who's at 83, but a minimum of 8 years of age with documentation. And then when they come out for a sport that fits their need. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of opportunities, so they have the choice to pick the season or sport that best suits their needs. And then we put them out there, and then like Greg was saying, we look at their skill level. And we have a variety of skill levels that we provide for our athletes, and we look at, okay, are they just a skill-based athlete? Are they a team sport? Just based on the individual itself, and then we place them where we best see fit.
Okay. You look at you were going to say something.
Well, I just wanted to mention that I failed to mention it earlier. We have another program called YAP. It's our Young Athletes program. They're 3 to 5 year old. They don't fit into. They're not ready, but we're trying to train them and bring them in to the Special Olympics program. And Janice Jenkins, who our coordinator for that, works with them. It's motor activities. They do things to music with balls and hoops and things like that to help these young children. Get some coordination and dexterity and move them to hopefully up to the Special Olympics level.
Okay. Do you provide training for
Yes.
for participants? What does it constitute?
Well, all our coaches are required to, if they want to be a head coach, have to go through certain coaches training provided by the state of Maryland. And then to be an assistant, you have to go through Kyle's volunteer orientation, which basically is, he'll give an orientation explaining the roles of a volunteer. They'll take a brief quiz, and then they will be registered as a volunteer with Maryland. And you can expand on that if you'd like.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, so the orientation we offer once every other month, year-round. And again, this information can be found on our website that we provide. But it's a chance to get their feet wet, basically, with what we do and what we offer and provide. And I can answer any questions they have about our athletes, about our sports and our individuals. And it's a great opportunity to kind of see what we're all about and what we do.
Okay.
The one thing about our program is, and a lot of people don't know this, is it's free. There's no cost to the athlete or their parent. We entirely do everything for, through fundraising and things of that nature, and that's how we provide the services to the athlete.
Greg, it's my understanding that your son is a participant in many of the sports that are offered by Special Olympics Maryland and Anne Arundel County. Could you expound on that a little bit? I think
Yes.
our viewers would be very
Yes,
interested
he
in
is.
learning about
My
that.
son is now 28 years old, and he got into Special Olympics when he was 7, very early, and that's how he got me involved with this. But it's been such a tremendous growth program for him. It's expanded his reach. He would much rather go to a practice than a competition because he's there with his friends, and he's made many friends through Special Olympics. And yes, he participates in about 10 different sports that we offer. Anything that he can do. It's his social life, and a lot of the athletes are that way. That's where their social lives beginning end. With Special Olympics, even though we're all about inclusion and unifying within the school, but they'll meet their friends there, and they'll create lifelong friends through Special Olympics.
Mm-hmm. Are there other stories about particular participants in the program that you'd like to share with our viewers that are especially meaningful for you?
Well, we have one young man within the last 2 years. He's become what we call our Athlete Congress representative, and it's his role to promote Anne Arundel County Special Olympics throughout the state. And he goes on speaking tours, and his name is Michael Hoyp, and he lives in Davidsonville. And to see his growth within the last couple of years, just by doing what he's doing, and he's become more extroverted. He's out there promoting Special Olympics and really enjoying himself. He's part of the torch run that they have that goes through Annapolis. The police have. So it's quite heartwarming to see someone grow that way. And Michael's done a phenomenal job for Special Olympics.
Yeah. How can individuals who are interested in Special Olympics get involved with it? Some of our viewers out there may be saying, well, there's someone in my family or someone that I know of who would be possibly very interested in getting involved in this program. How can they get involved?
The athlete pretty much takes on the same approach as our volunteers. So again, they have to complete an application, get the documentation, medical background. So again, we can see what the athlete has. And then, again, we look at the situation as, okay, what sports do they want to participate in? What seasons, what works best for them? And then we put them out there. And then we go to the practices. We have 8 12-week sessions for practice. And then we have a couple opportunities for qualifying events and then the actual state finals, sport-wise. So they're in for the long haul. And then we like to, when they get them, we get them new. we get our new athletes, we like for them to participate in multiple sports, multiple seasons. You know, we try to get them like, hey, next season, we have kayaking. You know, in the fall, we have another opportunity for you. We have bowling, we have basketball, to try to expand their horizons as well and keep them into and keep them with us for as long as possible.
We want to keep them involved year-round. And that's the only requirement for joining Special Olympics. And they can find all that information on our website. They go there and, look at what we have to offer. We try to provide as much information on that website as we can, directions to the training sites, when the season starts, when it ends, the coaches' names, phone numbers, contacts. So they can find all of that information there. All they need to do is fill out that form, as Kyle said, and let us know what sport they'd like to participate in.
Well, what is your website so that our viewers can take that information down?
Our website is www.soaamd.org.
Okay, could you repeat that?
Not a problem. www.soaamd.org.
All right. So viewers, if you are interested in or have someone that you know who's interested in getting involved with the Special Olympics, please do follow up with that website. Sports by nature are competitive activities, and I presume that most of the sports programs that you have are competitive in nature. Am I correct in that?
That's true. We are training them to be, to compete in competitions that move them from level to level. Mm-hmm. But again, it's not all about the competition. Mm-hmm. So, again, if they can't do it, they're still going to be part of Special Olympics. We're going to adapt to them. But for example, right now we're preparing for our summer games, which we held at Towson University. There'll be probably 1,100 athletes up there throughout the state of Maryland. And from there they can compete. We have athletes going to what we call our national games in New Jersey in June, the end of June. And then each year, or every 2 years, there's selections to the World Games. So there's opportunities to go at whatever level the athlete can progress to. And they can do that no matter what their ability level. They're not, they don't have to be a 4-star athlete to be able to go to the World Games. They can be a skills athlete that can only do the skills in golf and still go to a national competition.
Okay, let's talk about each of these different levels. I think this is very, very interesting. You've got 3 levels here that you just described. Let's start by talking about what actually happens at the Towson event.
Well, Towson, that's where they've done the training, as Kyle said, for their 10 weeks. And they've done their qualifiers, meaning they've gone to some events throughout the county or other counties, participated, and now they're ready to move to the state level competition. And at that competition, it's just like the real Olympics. We'll be having an aquatics venue where they'll be doing their swimming venues, and then they'll be doing softball at different sites, maybe throughout the area of Towson. Track and field will be held at the university track, and the athletes will compete there and against other athletes throughout the state. They'll be divisioned based on their age and ability, age, gender, and ability. And then based on that, then they'll run their races or do their competition and be awarded medals appropriately.
Okay, we're going to take a break now, but when we return, I'll be talking with Kyle and with Greg about a little bit about how the Special Olympics is comparable to the other Olympic Games, which many folks watch.
Here at PSA, we come together to help and support those who are affected by disasters around the world. We also know there are those who wish to make their own contributions. However, what others don't realize is the way they donate can make a difference. One factor is the additional cost of shipping. Another is whether the donation meets the necessities of those in need. So next time, please make your donations count. Donate cash.
I'm talking today with Greg Mead and Kyle Hines of Special Olympics Maryland and Anne Arundel County. What are the comparisons, the similarities between Special Olympics and the other Olympic games that occur? What are the ways that they're alike? What are the ways in which they're different?
Well, they're alike in many ways. I mean, they have the pomp and circumstance is the same. They have the opening ceremonies. They have the closing ceremonies. You know, they have the award ceremonies at the thing. They compete at their venues just as though they would at the real Olympics. So there's not a lot of differences. It's just maybe the scale is a lot smaller, but there's not a lot of differences between the Olympics. It was based on the Olympics. That's why it's called Special Olympics. Yeah, I can't say that there's a lot of differences. Many things are comparable.
And they give out the same kind of medal. You get a gold medal, a silver medal, or a bronze medal. They do the same thing.
Yes, we will award awards all the way down to 7th or 8th place.
Okay.
But the actual medals are gold, silver, and bronze. But yes, and again, it depends on how many people are in that particular division. You might have a division where there's only 3 people in it. Well, of course, then they would get the gold medal and the silver and bronze. But you might have a division where the times are so comparable that there's 6 or 7 or 8 in that division, and then everyone would get an award. But it would be a ribbon instead of a medal.
And when they do this at the world level, it's done by country. Is that how they do it, by country? And is it the same thing when they have the award ceremony? The gold medal person, they play the national anthem and.
Well, I wish I could speak to that. I haven't actually been to a World Games yet, so I've gone to a National Games, but I would assume that is the case, and that it's they would compete against athletes from other countries. So I would think that's true. Yes.
Do they hold the games in tandem with the other Olympics? For example, was there a Special Olympics program at Sochi?
No.
Okay.
So they do that I think it's every 2 years we'll do a World Games or National Games.
All right. And I think you mentioned, in terms of the disabilities, are we talking about both mental as well as physical, or? No,
it's an intellectual disability.
So you're dealing with with the intellectual or mental disability.
If it was a physical disability, we would channel them more towards the Paralympics.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So just for our viewers, for them to understand, explain the difference between the Paralympics and the Special Olympics.
Okay. The Paralympics is a physical disability.
Okay.
They don't have a cognitive disability. They have a physical disability, where Special Olympics are, a mental or a cognitive disability, ADHD, autism, Downs, things of those kind of disabilities.
Okay. My guess is that you make pretty good use of volunteers.
Oh, yes.
And as volunteer coordinator, I can see Kyle is ready to talk about that. Give our viewers a sense of what the volunteers do, how important they are to your program, and if somebody's interested in serving as a volunteer, the kind of opportunities that they would have if they were a volunteer for Special Olympics Maryland and Anne Arundel County.
Every orientation, I always leave it up to our volunteers, the people who are interested, and say, okay, you can do whatever you'd like to do with this. If you just want a one-time thing like the Summer Games with Towson, you can show up for that weekend and help out. If you want to be a coach and help out for that 10-week program, then you can participate in that. Or if you want to go from season to season, year-round, just like our athletes. I mean, we encourage to be as involved as possible. I mean, there's opportunities to, again, keep score, okay, or help walk our athletes from station to station, or help at practice. We use them in a variety of ways, and we're always looking for more involvement from our community members. Every month, every other month, we're hosting our orientations. We want to get out as many people as possible, of all ages. Not just our established or retired individuals, but our high school, college kids. It's a great way to get volunteer hours or service hours for your school and community.
And we host several competitions throughout the course of the year. For example, we do what we call our spring games, and it's held right here at the Naval Academy in Annapolis. And the Annapolis JCs sponsor that, and the Naval Academy host it. And we use many volunteers to do that. I mean, we're doing several different sports, so we need timers. We need all kind of volunteers to work the field events. So be at the aquatics event. So yeah, we can use volunteers quite often. We do a soccer tournament in the fall. We hold it at the Severin School. And we need volunteers, as Kyle said, to be scorekeepers, ball chasers, things of that nature. So there's lots of opportunities that we can use volunteers for. Everyone from my level down is a volunteer in Anne Arundel County. It's a non-paid position. So, it's the lifeblood of the organization.
Mm-hmm. And you're an all-volunteer organization then?
And from my level down, yes.
Okay. Well, it just sounds to me that there's lots of opportunities for people to get involved. As you said earlier, you provide training where the training is needed, and that's very important. But people of various skill levels can get involved in this. This is not something that an individual can say, well, I just can't do that. There's lots of jobs that people could do in the Special Olympics, Maryland and Anne Arundel County, that people of all age groups and ability levels and interests could get involved with. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, we like you said, you don't have to be a sports guy just to come along and help. Okay. So we can use you in many different ways.
Okay. All right. You mentioned earlier that the program is free of charge for participants. People can come in, you don't charge them a cent. But obviously, even though you're running an all-volunteer organization, and one of the things that I think I've found in doing this show over the years, and my own involvement, is that it's amazing what you can do as an organization if you don't have to pay staff. But at the same time, you need money because you have responsibilities and obligations to bring in funding to support your ongoing operations. So the question is, how do you derive your funding? Where do you get the money to do the good work that you're doing?
To give you an example, the budget for Anne Arundel County this year, I had to submit a budget to the state. We would need somewhere in the neighborhood of $100,000 to run the county for a year.
Okay.
And that provides uniforms, equipment, transportation, things of that nature. Now, where we get the money from, we get it from donations. We do various fundraisers during the course of the year. In-kind donations, meaning that, for example, our golf qualifier that we hold, Compass Point Golf down in Pasadena provides the golf course to us and all of that free of charge, which is an in-kind donation, so it counts as a part of the money that we use. So we derive it in a lot of different ways. So we don't ask the athlete for any money to participate, and we provide pretty much all of the equipment. Now, we're not going to provide, if they're playing softball, we're not going to provide their glove for them. We would expect them to have their own glove. But we'll supply the bats, the balls, and the bases, and the coaches and things like that, and the uniforms. So that's kind of where that goes.
Kyle, as volunteer coordinator, what have you found to be the greatest interest expressed by volunteers? How do you find volunteers react to the program and to the activities that they're involved with? You work very closely, I'm sure, with the individual volunteers and provide some really good perspective on this.
Yeah, they're definitely surprised. That's probably the biggest thing. They don't really, a lot of them are, what is Special Olympics and what is this all about? And when they get in there and they get involved, it's almost like an addiction, and they get more involved. I mean, I can take my own, talking to Greg when I first got involved. I was a volunteer first, and I was like, okay, what else can I do? How else can I get involved? So I started coaching in a year-round manner, and then he talked about the management team, and that's where I am here now, and I can talk to all these individuals and say, look, these are my personal experiences. You can be doing the same thing as well, but they're just the excitement. They're like just the reactions, and you can learn so much from these athletes. I mean, you go to one event, and it's life-changing. It truly is. I mean, I encourage anyone, just stop by. Even if you're not participating as a volunteer, just to see the effort and the excitement on these individuals' faces, there's words can't describe it. It's incredible.
And that leads me to the question of what, now I'd like each of you to respond to this, what aspects of the Special Olympics provide you with the greatest amount of satisfaction on a personal basis? What things about this program? Obviously, you both have dedicated a lot of time, a lot of work to Special Olympics. It's something you really believe in. What aspects of it or aspect of it has given you the greatest amount of personal satisfaction?
From my point of view, it's to watch the growth of the athletes. I watch it through my son, through all of the years. As Kyle's mentioned earlier, you might bring, I'll tell you a little story if you've got time.
Yes, we do.
We had a young man, his mother brought him to basketball, and he would not go in the gym. He sat outside. And for the entire season, he would not go in that gym. He, a little bit closer each week, he'd kind of peek in the door, just wouldn't do it. The next year, we got him in the gym, and he got to interact with some of the other athletes. And then it just was to watch his progression and his growth. And now he's just as Special Olympics is his life. He wouldn't be anyplace else. So that's the kind of things you get out of it, is to see how these athletes grow.
I would say the same. The growth of the athlete, working from what we talked about, our skills are unified, our complete team sports. To see that growth from, they started out as a skill athlete, and now we got them playing team sports, team games, go from 3-on-3 basketball to 5-on-5, just to see that step up. But I'd have to say my first experience with games, it was a golf qualifier, and just the medal and the excitement and the family, the reaction. They come off the podium and they go right to their coach, they go right to their parents, and it's just an over sense of joy. It's incredible. It truly is.
What would you describe as the greatest challenges that you've faced working with Special Olympics?
The parents.
Can you expound on that?
Parents are the same whether it's a special needs child or whether it's a normal, quote unquote, normal
Is it
athlete.
like Little League? Were they?
Absolutely,
Oh,
So,
gosh.
and don't get me wrong, not all parents are that way. But,
I'm sure they're not.
You'll get those certain parents that just can be a little difficult to deal with, and that's part of the job. But once they have been around a while and they see what we're all about and how we react with the athletes, I got some of the greatest coaches you'll ever want to be, and they don't have an athlete in the program. They don't have a vested interest in it, but they take these athletes and they just take them, as Kyle said, from one level right to the next. And getting through that process sometimes with the parents can be challenging.
I'd say for me, as being volunteer coordinator, is the commitment from the volunteers. At first it's definitely interested, all gung ho, everybody all aboard, and then it's just trying to maintain them to come to the practices and come to the events. Because again, without our volunteers, we can't compete. I mean, they make or break our season, and to go all season long, these athletes, individuals train so hard. And to, again, we just need that commitment. So if you're on, we need you all the way through the whole season. So,
looking ahead down the road, what kinds of changes, improvements, revisions do you think you could make or should be made in Special Olympics Maryland?
Well, the biggest thing I want to do is I want to include more athletes.
Okay.
As I mentioned earlier in the beginning of this.
You got several hundred right now.
Yeah, we only have 400, 450. And like I said, that's probably 10% of what's eligible in this county.
Okay.
There's 6,000 athletes statewide. And we would love to bring more of those athletes on board and let them see what this program's all about, how that they can use it as a life skill, not just in sports, but in their schooling and in their adult life as well. So that's what I would like to see.
Okay.
from my standpoint, awareness. Just creating the awareness about our program, what we do and our individuals, and just how special of an organization this really is.
Okay. Thank you for viewing our program today, and please join us again on Annapolis Mosaics. If you would like more information about the Annapolis Human Relations Commission, please jot down the information that's on your screen. You can reach us at 410-263-7998 or by email at hrcommission@annapolis.gov. Or you can check out our page at the City of Annapolis website. Go to www.annapolis.gov, click on the city government icon, then the boards and commissions icon, and scroll down to the Human Relations Commission page. And always remember the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said, "We have flown the air like birds and swum the seas like fishes, but have yet to learn the simple act of walking the earth as brothers and sisters." Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.